Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Not particularly spooky, but I might as well post. First off, an apology for anyone who was camping in the Brown County State Park in Indiana in mid-September this year. Let's go camping, bunch of my college buddies. Everyone bails. Ends up that it's me and 3 friends. 2 are my bros. The other is the newly minted girlfriend of one of them. Get there at like 11 p.m., cause traffic and shit. Bro, 2 and GF are already there. Tents set up and everything. Unpack, shoot the shit, kill time. It's like 1 p.m., they want to go hike, whatever. Despite being packed, the campground is basically dead. Everyone is asleep or drunk. In hindsight of innawoods shit, this was really dumb, like monumentally dumb. Hike a solid mile on a trail to a small lake. Sit there, talk about shit. Try and get them to drink some oak heart I had jammed in my back pocket. Bro 1 and girl opt out. Bro 2 sips once, can't handle bitter-ass rum. Swiggin' like a pro, irrelevant, let's head back, talking about random crap still. Out of nowhere, Bro 2 brings up the fact that GF has recently perfected the Screech of the Witch King of Angmar. Think that's odd, but whatever, knock yourself out. Standing next to her, she lets loose. Spot on. 10 out of 10 Peter Jackson would record for next Lord of the Rings. Had I not been watching her do it, I would have shit my pants. Probably 2 a.m. No one knows we are out here. Woods is silent as a grave, and then this demonic scream shatters it. So, if you were camping that weekend and tactically shit yourself and hid in your sleeping bag because of Skinwalker, Wendigo, Bigfoot screeches, I'm sorry. In super hindsight, this was basically us ringing a dinner bell. But what did I know?
So I was in the military for a while. I'm Australian. And whilst I was in Army recruit training, there were a few ghost stories from things happening in my company. I've got a few and we'll post them all if there's interest. I won't Greentext because I feel like it can leave out some detail. So in my 4th week of training, we are all sitting in the foyer of our platoon. Our section commanders are giving us a little speech on random shit. They ask us if we want to ask them anything at all. One guy asks if there's any spoopy stories about the building. One of our section commanders, we will call him Corporal Vach, says he's encountered a few. He was DNCO one night, duty non-commissioned officer, and he was doing a routine patrol to make sure no recruits are out and about doing shit at night. It was about 3 a.m. and he was tired from playing games with his platoon the whole day. He's patrolling our floor when he hears a noise like someone is going up the stairs to another floor of the building. He goes and checks it out, but typically sees nothing. Checks on the recruits on that level, and they're all in bed. He's walking back down and goes outside for a smoke. He's looking at the building and sees a light on in one of the rooms on the highest floor, 3-story building. He puts his smoke out and runs up ready to knife hand the recruit that's doing shit up there. He sees the light on at the end of the hallway and bolts down there. There's no one in that room. It's empty. The light is off. He starts to feel uneasy, as though there's something wrong. He walks back down the hall uneasy. He can't hear any sound at this point. He can't quite put his finger on it, but something is wrong. He can't hear his boots echo down the hall. He figures it's because the door to the outside is closed and goes back to his smoke. He finishes and goes to the bottom floor. He goes back inside and goes to the bottom floor's office to watch some TV. About half an hour later, he starts hearing noises as though the recruits on the top floor are cleaning their barracks. Furniture moving, mumbling, sound of boots running. He bolts upstairs, ready to fuck them up. But there's no one in the halls. The lights are off. He walks to the first room to check on the recruits, and there's no one in the room. The second room, the same. He frantically checks all the rooms to find the floor empty. He rubs his eyes and remembers that the platoon hadn't been raised yet, meaning it was empty. He goes to the SAL's bathroom and washes his face. He starts to hear laughter from the end rooms, very loud laughter, and nopes out of there and chain smokes for the rest of the night. He says that he will only sleep in the office with the lights on from now on. He isn't the kind to lie either, and the other recruits and I also experience things.
So I'm kinda new to this board, but I've got a pretty creepy-ass story from a few years back. Decide to go innawoods with some people I knew from college for spring break. Some were my bros that I'd known for a long time. Some were guys I had only met a few times, and a few girls, one of whom had a family cabin out in a woods that we were going to stay in. My friend Tom is into survival and guns and shit, and brought emergency supplies, a ton of ammo, and a .308 SCAR, Remington 870, and his Glock 20 pistol, which he always carries either on him or in his car. I had my Glock 17 carry, and two other guys brought pistols as well for plinking and in case of bears and shit. Little bit of info about Tom. He's a big guy, about 6'4", 240 pounds, and this son of a bitch can fight. Crazy fucker isn't scared of anything either, and goes out in a woods regularly just because in typical commando fashion. My other friend Mark is the exact opposite and shits himself if an elevator moves too fast. Needless to say, him and Tom didn't get along well. First night of the trip, everyone gets unpacked and settled. Tom and Rebecca, his girlfriend at the time, ex now, take a room together. Sarah, the chick that owns the cabin, and her friends took the master room upstairs. Mark and I took the third room, and everyone else set up beds and sleeping bags in the main room of the cabin. The first night, we heard some noises off in the distance, nothing too out of the ordinary, though most of it was drowned out by Tom and Rebecca. The next morning is where shit started to get creepy. We awake to find blood smeared all over the outside of the cabin and our vehicles, as well as several coons dismembered scattered all around the cabin. At this point, Mark is practically shitting himself. Sarah is freaking out, demanding to know which one of us did this prank, and for that person to clean the shit up, and Tom is casing the parameters of the cabin looking for animal tracks or footprints, anything to explain what happened. The other two girls, Sarah's friends, and the other two guys, one was Tom's buddy Jason, the other was Mark's little brother David, were more disturbed and grossed out than anything. Sarah was getting increasingly annoying since everyone was swearing they didn't do it and knew nothing about it. I asked if anything like this had ever happened out here before, to which Sarah said no. Sarah's friends Courtney and Emily wanted to leave and wouldn't shut up about it. At this point, Tom came back over to the rest of the group saying he didn't see animal tracks or footprints or anything to explain what had happened. He figured, like Sarah, that one of us had done it. After a long argument, we agreed that we would stay at least another night, and that we would make sure to lock all doors and windows before going to sleep. Tom, Mark, Jason, David, and myself got stuck with cleaning everything up, which took about an hour. The rest of the day was pretty normal. We made a fire, ate lunch, talked about shit, and went shooting. By the time we got back to the cabin from the target shooting out in a woods, it was getting dark, so we started up the fire again and proceeded to eat dinner. After we finished eating and started cleaning up, we heard the most blood-chilling scream imaginable. Seriously, shit sounded like a pterodactyl screeching into a megaphone. Everyone freaks out, including myself. Mark, Courtney, and Emily wanted to get out of there and were insisting that we just grab our essentials and leave. At this point, Tom had his gun drawn and was looking around and said that we needed to go check it out because someone could need help. I told him that there was no way that scream came from anything human, but he went into the cabin and came back with his SCAR and Remington locked and loaded, and he threw me the Remington. "Come on, Chris, we need to check that shit out for our safety at the very least," he said immediately after giving me the shotgun. Rebecca grabbed him, not wanting him to go, and Mark was insisting that I stay as well. The decision had already been made. We were going to check it out. But first, Tom grabbed a flare gun and 3 extra flares out of his car. Then he gave Rebecca his Glock and told Mark and Jason to have their guns ready and to get everyone in their cars and leave if we weren't back in 30 minutes, or to come to our location if we popped a flare. Tom and I headed out towards the direction of the scream. He took the lead like a man on a mission while I watched his back. We got about 3/4 of a mile away from the cabin when we came across a freshly dead deer that had been clawed apart. Tom examined it and said it had to have been a bear, and the screeching must have been from it dying. I wasn't sure. I felt uneasy, like we were being watched, plus that deer was torn apart, guts and blood everywhere, and its head had almost been clawed off almost completely at the neck. It didn't look like any bear kill that I had ever seen before. We got back to the cabin and told everyone else what we found. They were still freaked out, but less so once Tom said that it was just a bear that had killed a deer and probably got scared and ran off when it heard us coming. No one got much sleep that night. The next morning, we heard a scream coming from right outside the cabin. It was Sarah. We all rushed outside, and what we saw was more disturbing than the raccoons. The deer that Tom and I had found last night was scattered all around the cabin. Its head was right next to the door, and the rest of it had been more torn up than it was the night before. Now it wasn't just Mark and the 2 girls that wanted to leave. Now Rebecca, Sarah, and myself wanted to get the fuck out of there. Tom was on edge now too. He'd never heard of a bear dragging its kill towards humans and then mutilating the corpse and not eating it. He wouldn't say it, but I could see that he was concerned, though he still said we should stay and make the most out of our spring break, to which David agreed. He was able to convince Rebecca, Sarah, and myself that we should stay too, even though I still couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. I ended up helping convince Mark, Courtney, and Emily that we'd be fine because we had a shit ton of guns and ammo. For the rest of the day, everything was pretty normal, other than the fact that everyone was on edge. We stayed in the cabin most of the day, hanging out and drinking. That night, while we were eating dinner, we heard the same blood-chilling scream from the night before. This time I knew it wasn't from a deer. Whatever that sound was, it was what killed the deer and the raccoons, and had been stalking our cabin. It's almost like it was stalking us, trying to lure us out to it. This time Tom had his SCAR right by him at dinner, and I had his Remington. Then we heard what sounded like whispers out in the forest. Tom stood up, turned on the flashlight that was attached to his gun, and started screaming, "Whoever is out there better come the fuck out, or they're going to get lit the fuck up." This was out of character. Tom has his fair share of rage issues, but he's the most responsible person I've ever seen around firearms. He wouldn't point a gun out into the woods and threaten to shoot, not knowing what was out there. Then we see something maybe 100 yards out stand up. Fucking thing had to be at least 7 feet tall and was too thin to be a bear. Tom dumped a 20-round mag in its direction, and we heard it fucking screech louder than ever before. Then Mark, Jason, and myself dumped our pistol mags in the same direction. We got inside the fucking cabin not knowing what was out there or if we killed it. No one slept that night, even though Tom said the only thing it could be was a bear, but I don't think he even believed that anymore. Not entirely, at least. We packed our shit that night and decided that we would leave first thing in the morning. Before we left, the guys and I went to check where we were shooting at the night before to see if there was a body. There was nothing except a few bullet holes in the trees where some of our missed shots had hit. We left soon after and spent the last few days of spring break in our dorms, hanging out with each other, talking about what happened. Sarah hasn't been back to the cabin since, and Mark won't set foot into the woods again to this day. Tom and I still go in a woods together sometimes, and we even went camping in the same area last summer, but nothing happened. Still, I felt like we were being watched, like something was still stalking us at night. Something not human nor animal.
Slight spoopy. True story, bro. Be me at 13 or 14, staying the night at Ma Duke's for the weekend. Sleeping in the top bunk when I wake up around 2 a.m. Look up at the ceiling and see a green bioluminescent worm thing on the ceiling. Thought maybe it was a piece from those glow-in-the-dark stars you put up on your ceiling. Wait, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? The fucking ectoplasmic booger was moving, inching its way across the ceiling. Thought maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm still asleep. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. Next thing I knew, ... I hear brother in the bottom bunk. Anon. Hey Anon, do you see that green thing moving on the ceiling? Nope. .jpg. Kept staring at it for about 15 minutes before I dozed off. Wake up the next morning and ask my brother if he remembers seeing spoopy thing. Says yes, but he was over it.
Be me and a good friend. Let's call him Bro. Decide we want to go out camping and try to write some black metal music. Bro says his grandpa has a cabin up north in the woods we could use. Me and Bro both take a week off work because we want to get in touch with nature and try to have it inspire us. Me and Bro decide at the last minute to bring up some guns and targets for some more fun. I go to my dad's house and steal a ton of his ammo. He makes his own ammo, so he doesn't care as long as I bring back as much good brass as I can carry. Me and Bro pack very light because he says the cabin is pretty much fully stocked. We will just have to stop in town to get minor things like milk and booze. We get the truck packed, gassed up, and head off to the woods. We get to town and stop and get booze and meat and snacks. People in the grocery store look at us funny because we're buying probably $150 worth of alcohol at 11 a.m. Get back on the road, and about 10 minutes away from the first dirt road turnoff, my friend mentions that it's a good thing my truck is 4-wheel drive. Ask him why. Bro says, because the road to this cabin is basically mud and crawling over downed trees and tree stumps. Laugh and call him an asshole for not saying. As we turn onto the dirt road, I hit the brakes hard so I don't plow through a group of deer in the middle of the dirt road. Honk the horn. Call them assholes. They all just stare at me. Decide fuck it. I'll shoot at them and pull out my gun. My friend says not to because we're technically still in town limits and we'll get a huge fine for firing a weapon. Me. Well, how the hell am I going to get past them then? Bro. Just drive at them. They should move. Drop the truck into first and go at them. They part like Moses parting the Red Sea. Drive for a little bit longer, and my friend says to stop. I look at him like he's dumb. Dude, this is the middle of the dirt road. Where the fuck is the cabin? He then walks over to a tree that's all fucked up and hanging down. He pushes the branches to the side and reveals a gate just big enough for my truck to fit through. I drive through the gate and wait on the other side for him. Before he gets in, he opens the cooler in the bed, pulls out about 4 beers and tells me to drop it into 4 low and keep it in second gear. The drive is about another 20 minutes of super sticky and smelly mud, Rotted logs and a ton of tree stumps, with me trying not to smash my truck up too badly or get stuck. As we get to the last 30 feet of the road, there is a deer carcass torn apart and stuck in the mud. We cruise past, and my friend wants to grab the head so we can set the mood for our black metal writing. He grabs the head and tosses it into the bed, and we set off to finish the drive. We end up in this huge clearing. About 100 yards from the center on all sides is a tree line that looks like it was deliberately planted, so there was about 6 feet between each tree, except for where we drove in, which were 2 stumps. Now I'm going to divert from the story for a minute to tell you about this cabin. On the way in, I wondered why there were so many tree stumps and downed logs on this road. This was an actual log cabin, like his grandpa or his great-grandpa or someone went and chopped down trees and built themselves a log cabin. The cabin had 3 bedrooms and a huge kitchen. No bathrooms because there's no running water, and getting a truck out there to drain a septic tank would be damn near impossible. Bro says to put the meat out in the freezer around back. I ask him how there is a working freezer, and he tells me there is also a generator around back that runs some lights in the cabin and a fridge and freezer. We decide it's time to get fucked up and shoot off some rounds. After about 2 hours of shooting, we decided to start writing some music. Bro grabs the deer head out of the bed of the truck and sets up some candles in the cabin, and we begin writing music. We finish up with an exceptionally good writing session and are putting things away when we hear this screech from the woods at the front of the house. Being the ex-Philly that I am, I want to check it out. Bro says it was probably just an owl or something. I decided that's probably what it was, and we went outside to build a fire so we can cook up some steak and eat it inside as the sun is beginning to go down. Hear the screech again, this time from behind the cabin and much closer than before. Decide to check it out for real this time. Grab my flashlight and my 1911, give Bro my M9, head outside and shine the light around the tree line to see if I can see anything. See a shadow figure close to the ground and hear the screech again, about to nope out of there when it starts to move towards us on all 4s. We open fire as it comes out of the tree line, and I dump my whole clip in its direction before we decide to run back around front and get inside. As we run for the front of the cabin, we hear even louder screeching, and I turn around to see whatever it was scuttle back into the tree line. Get inside, and Bro is shitting bricks yelling about, "Oh God, we're gonna die," and "What was that thing?" Tell Bro to shut the fuck up and reload the gun he had, and to grab the shotgun I brought. We spend the next few hours sitting and contemplating what we saw while watching out the windows for some kind of movement. Eventually, I fell asleep. Wake up to the sound of badly recorded guitars. Cover my ears and begin yelling, "Turn that off, my head is killing me." Have a massive hangover. Bro laughs and shuts the music off. I'm going to grab some bacon and sausage out of the freezer. What do you want? Tell him to grab anything that can be used to cure a hangover. He walks out and I think about the incidents of the night prior, not really sure if they were real or if I passed out drunk and dreamt it all. Bro comes running in saying the freezer has been torn into and that all the food is gone. Get up and grab my 1911, then hear the screech. Go outside and see what looks like a man on all 4s, except not on hands and knees, kind of like army crawling, except without the body touching the ground. It's completely hairless and gray with a bald head, kind of like the dudes in the music video for Schism by Tool. Raise the gun to fire and hear a screech from behind us. Bro turns around and yells, "There's 2 of them!" Decide to fire a few shots at the first creature, then dip into the cabin. As we run into the cabin, Bro yells that it's coming at us. Get inside and slam the door shut and lock it. Hear whatever these things are slamming into the door over and over again. Finally, after about 15 minutes, they stop and leave. We only knew they left because we heard a screech that sounded farther away than the front door. Look outside and decide it's probably time to leave. Get everything packed inside and ready to just throw into the bed of the truck. After a good few hours of waiting, we loaded that truck like a pit crew team changing tires. Jump in the truck, drop it into 4 low again, and blast out of there as fast as we can. Hear another screech as we get to the tree stumps that mark the exit and entrance path. As we come up over the stumps, something hits the front of the truck hard. Couldn't see it because the truck was lifted with the front end on top of the stumps. Hear a loud crunching noise followed by an awful squealing noise. Don't look and gun it. Must be doing 40 through this treacherous-ass off-road trail. Finally get to the gate to get out of there. Bro says, blow through the gate. I don't care if people go up there and rob that place. Blow through the gate and stop for 1 second to get the truck back into two-wheel drive. Gun it and hear a screech one last time. Make it back to town and realize we're starving. Decide to stop at a little shithole diner. Remember running something over on the way out of there. Check the underside of the truck and the front tires. Blood all over the tires but no fur, so it couldn't have been the deer carcass. Order and ask the cute waitress if there are any urban legends or anything about the area. She says, no real urban legends, but people always talk about hearing screams and screeches, and a few hikers go missing every once in a while in that area. Make it home doing 80 the whole way. Bro hasn't camped since then, but I have.
Get off the graveyard shift. Go to Walmart for midnight snacks. Driving home, I decided to take back roads. Suddenly, straight long stretch of road, far as I can see. See do not park sign to my right. Seconds later, see another one. Few seconds more, see a third. This keeps happening. See another one. Oh God, what's happening? See another one. Holy shit, is this really happening? See another one. Am I stuck in a never-ending loop? See another one. Oh God, what the absolute fuck? See another one. Holy shit, did I die and not notice? See another one. This continues for another 10 minutes. Finally reach the main road. Need to pull over and come to terms about what just happened. Look at the car clock. Look at cell phone time. I'm missing exactly 1 hour and 30 minutes. Never went down that road again.
Haven't shared anything before, but this happened to me 5 years ago. It's really creepy. Be early 20s. Into urban exploration. Hear of this abandoned bunker outside of town. Place is supposed to be huge. Built during the Cold War. Abandoned by the army, but the actual grounds were bought by a big truck company for the facilities above ground. Below ground left mostly in decay and storage of private boats during winter months. Go there alone one summer evening. Climb chain link fence. Totally empty forested place above ground. Follow the road inside the perimeter. Huge ass gate that leads underground. See pic, this is what it looked like underground. I brought a camera. I start walking around. Place is huge and empty. Some places have working lighting. Some places do not. The lighting goes on via sensor. Some areas are dark, but I got my flashlight. Start exploring. Find old Cold War manuals, booklets, instruction stuff. In case of nuclear war, that kind of shit. Go into this hallway. Find an almost abandoned office. Walls made of cave rock and a desk plus cupboard. Open cupboard. Inside are old tattered army rags. Torn, dirty, and some of them ripped to shreds only identifiable by their army camouflage. Pull one out and hold up. A piece of bone, looks like part of a leg, falls out and lands on the floor. I jolt and shriek like a little wuss. Scream echoes throughout the bunker, and this is when the freaky shits start. Suddenly hear movement inside the walls around me. Sounds like someone crawling around shuffling against the rock on the other side. These places have hatches running alongside most of the walls for whatever reason. Emergency escape? See pic related on the very far left, you see one of those hatches. One of these hatches on the other side of the office suddenly starts to slowly creak open like a horror movie. I nope out of there. Run down the corridor outside and trip on the step leading out to the large area of the bunker. Run down the entirety of the large room. See pic related again to see what size we're talking here. Enter the dark area of the place. Reach for my flashlight. Dropped it when I tripped. Meanwhile, I'm panting and just suddenly realize I'm probably not being very subtle. Try to keep quiet as I feel my way across the room and go into a corridor. Suddenly, I hear something right in front of me. I hear the sound of movement in this very, very dark corridor. Not fast movement, more like a slow shuffling. Sounds almost like feet dragging across the ground. Only light I have is my camera, so I tried to snap this pic, but the flash wouldn't light up. Whatever it is hears the sound and freezes. A few seconds of silence between it and me. Then it comes a slow, low-pitched moan. Not quite inhuman actually, but more of a really low moan, kinda like what you'd think zombies make in classic horror films, not the ones where they run. Shuffling starts again, this time picking up the pace coming right at me. Nope, the fuck out of there. Back into the big room. Down the room, see two silhouettes standing against the wall. One of them is holding my flashlight still lit up and banging it against the wall. Its movements are erratic and not very controlled. I feel so surrounded by this point. I snap another picture down the big room. The flash still won't light up. These two silhouettes notice me, more moaning. They start shuffling towards me really, really slow. I just turn and run. Lucky enough to find exit within what seems like an hour, but what's probably more like 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I can hear these moaning sons of bitches shuffling around trying to navigate the dark and find me. At least that's what I imagine they're doing. Eventually find outside. Run as fast as I can. Forget to close the gate leading into the bunker behind me. Jump chain link fence. Jump into car. Never ever go urban exploring again.
Stayed the night at my friend's house once. Strange occurrence. Be me, around 10 years old. About to go to bed. Friend tells me to sleep in the spare room, but to lock the door. Family with young children will be there tomorrow. Locking the door was to prevent them from bothering me. Go in the room, there's a large old reel-to-reel player on one wall. A couch I would lay on under the window. Lay down in the dark room, enough light to see outlines. The window has no blinds, so I'm staring up at the night sky. Almost purple outside, not sure why. Try to fall asleep. Begin hearing some bizarre noises, almost as if in my head. Sounds like a swarm of insects, or snake rattles constantly drumming. The sounds seem to go up and down in volume over and over again. Try to push it out of my mind. Hours pass like this. Have the feeling of being woken up, startled to see a shadowy figure standing in front of the reel, to reel player moving around as if adjusting the settings. Say my friend's name in a question. The figure vanishes, freaked out. Go check the door, still locked. Go immediately find my friend, who is still up reading a book. Tell him I'm going home. Walk home, it's dawn. I never told anyone because I wasn't sure if I was awake or not. It was extremely surreal.
I have got an all-right story. December last year, my brother has neighbors over and they are sitting around on the couch. I propose an idea, something my bro and I did a couple years ago. Let's go visit the baby graves. The neighbor girl doesn't know. Bro gets a smirk on his face. Convince the neighbor girl and friend to join us to drive up to see graves. Been to the graves before, they aren't scary at all. My bro and I can't wait to scare this girl though. We drive up to the graves. These graves have been there since the 1800s, on top a hill near a large flatland farm that stretches on for a dozen miles. It's around 1 a.m. on a weekend. We don't expect anything bad. A farmer guards that property, so we dim our lights driving past his barn, make it to the graves. Everyone but me leaves the car and walks up to the graves. I get a bright idea. My bro knows too. I quickly back out the car and peel out of there. Bro knows I am gonna spook the girl and her friend. Suckers. I'm a couple miles down the road by now. It's time I turn around and get ready to jump them. I drive back to the graves, ready for a good laugh. No one's there. I get out of the car and walk up to the graves. Forget to turn headlights on as I grabbed a flashlight. I yell out, "This isn't funny, bro." I turn off the flashlight, trying to hear if they are hiding past the broken gravestones. No sound. I decide, fuck it. He has his phone on him. He can call me. Start to walk back to the car. A voice says, "Don't go." It doesn't sound like any one of the neighbors or my bro. I hear the voice again say, "Don't go." My bro didn't bring a sound recorder. This was a sudden thing to spook the neighbors. Nope the fuck out of there. I peel back out and drive towards the barn. My brother is there with the neighbor girl and her friend. Asks why I didn't come towards the barn first. They were walking back for me. Ask my bro if he heard stuff at the graves. Of course not. I drove back home. Never mentioned it, but still unsettled. Ghost babies, man.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.